Okay, let's get this started. Try to start on time today, being that I again have to end the stream a little sooner. Um, yeah, I ended the stream earlier yesterday so I could grab some breakfast because I had meetings straight through, and just before my first meeting started, the reason I cancelled that I shortened the stream, it got moved to today, so I have to repeat the process again today. So we will we'll go a little longer, but not much longer. So shorter stream. But back tomorrow as usual. Good morning, online. Good morning, Stoney. Good afternoon, Stoney. Your own emotes, nice, nice, exciting times. I will have to see if I can figure that out. I need to decide whether I'm gonna monetize the second channel as well. Yeah. But anyway, so yesterday we got Liquid Sky up and running again. That is now, no, that's not, that's Liquid Sky, yeah. We got Liquid Sky up and running again. And basically what I'm working through is, this piece: trigger notification based on parameters, record the notification, subscription communications, record the change details. So then we need to trigger. We're doing more shenanigans together on the channel and people will come. Yeah, we'll have to get some streams scheduled if we're gonna do that. So, please stop texting. There you go. Okay. So today the goal will be very much around getting tasks, this piece working. So introduce the API for communications, create database for communications, create endpoint for communication preferences, capture the notification subscription identifier, table for notifications, capture notification subscription user and tenant. Preference right now is inferred as email, so we don't need any actual preferences. So to be able to record the fact that we need to tell people, we have to introduce the pieces for that. So introducing the sagas has to come secondary to the actual communications piece. So this is where are you? Let's do this. Events, flow, components. New canvas. We'll call that notifications. Right. So basically, this is the client says subscribe and right communication preferences. Right. And what's going to happen is so they're subscribing to a notification. They hit this. They say, "Hey, here's what I'm subscribing to, and here's how I want to be told of it." When the change occurs, right? We go to notifications to determine whether we need to notify, and then we go to communications, right, to do the notification. So this preference is now required for this subscription. So we're going to publish, hey, we're going to do this subscription, and then this preference is going to be set up against this subscription identifier to then actually communicate. Right. The reason that will work is because now when we publish a notification, we're going to put a notification ID on it, or a subscription identifier. That's going to have the subscription identifier with the parameters of the notification. So, hey, I need to send an email or whatever. Which means that we can then produce the right domain events for the sagas, because we know what we're doing with that actual subscription. So let's create a new API. And this is one of the areas where I feel that using the AI tools eventually will become part of my workflow, in that I think that it's very much, hey, please create me a communications API. It should contain this and this and this, and reference the application, etc. And it goes off and does this. This is very, very boilerplate stuff. Hey, maybe. How you doing? Good afternoon. I appreciate that. So this is just going to be communications. This is like the presentation element. I don't postfix it with anything else. That's kind of my standard throughout the application. Whether that's the right thing or not, I do not know. Empty web app. Seems about right. Let's create that. How's your Thursday going so far, maybe? It's not bad, apart from having to make another short stream because meeting, but I'm positive about today. I think today is has the potential to go very well. So, well, they're scheduling it at spot on like 9, so I need to be set up and ready and before the meeting. So, yeah. Which is fine. I don't. They're actually doing that meeting earlier for them, not actually early for me. So it could be worse. Yeah, it's just like the mess with my schedule, right? I have the chance to get into a flow, and right as I get into any flow, I'm pretty much finishing. So that is the downside. Okay, so we're going to introduce fast endpoints, right? .NET 10. You're already compiling this against .NET 10. That's a little premature. Oh, well. Cool. I like .NET 10, .NET 8, .NET 9. Oh, well. Cool. Okay, so we're going to have configuration. We're going to have endpoints. Right. So let's talk data before we get too far ahead of this. So right now, I am What am I doing? Who am I? I'm storing the details of the changes. Right? Oh, yeah. WSL went yesterday. That wasn't fun. Come on. I should restart the machine. Oh well. It is what it is. Don't. I also need to switch this up. Now I know better. I need to switch this up to be Docker Compose rather than create my own script. Okay, and then Docker Compose. Okay. That's running. So the reason I did that is so I can look up MongoDB. So I got the... That's not that. Okay, man. Oh, helps if you do stuff against the right actual database. So communications has also lost itself. There we go. Okay. Okay. So what I've done here is I've actually recorded the change details. The subscription, the notification to send will give me the identifier that it's going to trigger off of, the change identifier, which is this. Right? So, and those change identifiers have change details, which means that I can say, okay, do I have the changes yet? Yes, I do. Okay, we're good. We can proceed. Where that's useful is if I have multiple notifications that are triggered by the same change, I don't have to keep repeating myself here, right? I'm storing those changes, and if I need to refire events, etc., for whatever reason, I can still do that. Ultimately, I don't think this lives inside of the communications. I think it's probably the wrong place to hold this data. After I did it, I felt, it possibly should live as sorry. It possibly should live more over here still and just record it here so that I can ask for that data. The challenge I have with that is the independence of the system. If I'm recording that data, I can hold off on communications and I don't have anything outside to depend upon other than those communications coming into me to then send stuff. So if I have a copy of the data locally, I can produce everything I need from within myself. If this API changes or if this system is unavailable, this system is now constrained in that way. It can't do anything without this other system being up. So if I do a deployment and things are, not coming up correctly or whatever, then this, large parts of the system fail. It does mean you copy more data around the system, 100%. So the potential for having more inaccurate data is there, but it's easier. Yes, I have a meeting this morning. No, it's spot on. It's spot on 9, so I need to be ready and off this computer and on my work computer in plenty of time to be able to get started and get set up. So it is all good. I do apologize. We will be back to a normal 2-hour stream tomorrow. I was hoping this week would be uninterrupted and we'd have the full time, but it was not to be. It is fine. Good morning, Delta. So let's get... I got mad at my team yesterday, except for the people in charge, because they scare me. Okay. And the people in charge, not the ones that... Oop. So I have a cup of Dunkin' coffee, and the lids on these cups, they're great if they work. So they've got the little tab that folds back and clicks in, right? But this one, 3 times already, I've put it in there, it's sat there, I went to drink, and it's flicked up and flicked coffee in my face. So now it's causing me a... It's like a fidget toy. So basically, what I need to do now is, I guess the product owner is technically in charge. He was good with it. Yeah. Teams do not always work as well as they should. We'll say that. Yeah, of course. By agile, what do you mean? Yeah. So you've mentioned a few times the whole ensemble technique of just kind of getting together, like mob programming, etc. And I haven't necessarily dismissed it, but I've not been able to sense, feel that that's productive based upon my experience. But I feel there's a version of that actually works in the early phases of projects where you get enough people together that can do stuff. You get them together and you do stuff in the rough draft. So you sit product with DevOps, with developers and DBAs, and you kind of work through the pieces of what you need so that everyone understands the actual goal. And then you go off and refine it once everyone knows their pieces. So if there's tables and schema design required, the DBAs are there at that point, and the DevOps people are there at that point for, hey, we need these new servers set up, or we need this set up. Oh, we need this, and this. Oh, okay, we get that, right? Because we spend a long time communicating, but never actually communicating. We spend a long time writing emails, writing messages, making requests of other people to do stuff. If you spend a day on the basic structure of what you need, Like, oh, here's the service we need to build. We need to do this and this and this, and like not necessarily write all the pieces of code, but at least plot out what is necessary in real time with the people necessary there. You kind of align that language, and that one day could save many days of back and forth, waiting on others to do stuff, miscommunication. There's all sorts of challenges that are thrown at us throughout the day, and it's not any one person's fault. It's a combination of just everything else. And if we did that more often, I think that could actually be productive. Might seem like a waste, um, but I'm realizing that I personally am getting worse at relaying what I'm asking for, because I'm thinking too fast. And I know it happens on stream, right? My brain, I understand this in a way that no one else is going to. So sometimes I'm talking and I don't stop myself enough to realize that people might have no clue what I'm actually waffling on about, right? Now with streaming, that's a different thing. You might be using me as background noise, so it doesn't really matter. I can't stop and worry about everyone. But in a work environment, I don't know, maybe that would slow it down enough to use the right words. Yeah. So yeah, and we just spend so much wasted time back and forth and blame and yeah. So yeah, it is what it is. Sorry, I'm trying to think about record change event. I'm gonna introduce. I think I might actually. No, now's not the time to introduce this pattern. Now's not the time to introduce more use case based behavior. Okay, my opinion. Brace yourself. I think the to do in progress done screen isn't part of the application. I think the main application is actually the planning items. Also, there should be a more built out interface for the initiatives. Okay. So aren't really a Jira clone anymore. You're more a different application altogether. So initiatives do have. This is the app product owners go to figure out what to build, and then Jira is what is used to build it. So you think the work tracking aspect of this is not its strong point, that the planning and arrangement of things, and then basically where I've got tasks, we generate stories from in Jira. The customer is a product owner, not the developers entirely. I don't agree with you. I'm making sure that I'm interpreting. Yeah. How is Jira going to help build it? I mean, I'm okay with product evolution. I'm okay with, you know, pivoting the product to be what it needs to be. But because the developer should control the tasks at the initiative level in this app, and then handing off tasks to developers isn't a good idea. I think we need to. So, handing off tasks to developers is not what happens. Developers own the tasks. That's the purpose. So the developers get to build the software in the way they know how to build the software. The problem that we often hit with Jira is we try and apply a product that's made for agile and just general those practices into a product that is built in a very, very different way that doesn't quite fit neatly in the box, and those stories oftentimes then blur the lines. So if the developers have the ownership of the tasking, they can develop the tasks necessary to achieve the requirement. That's the purpose there. And it doesn't matter whether you're working in a more agile manner or whatever methodology you're running, you can still adapt to the software to be what you need it to be, and the developers can still plan the software in the way they need to plan the software. I don't agree that they own the initiative. Initiatives are at the product level for the reason that they're an entire sequence of things that need to be achieved. The developers should be heavily involved and should understand what the initiatives are and why things come about, because they're responsible for execution. They're responsible for the execution of the items that are in the initiative. So yeah, they can talk about it, but they don't own it. Because the product team can. So the idea of the initiatives ultimately is you'll be able to click in here and see the planning items associated. You'll be able to see a Kanban board of all the progress that's being made on this initiative, right? You'll be able to see who's associated with this initiative, because there'll be owners of this initiative. There'll be goals, there'll be target dates on this initiative, right? And the idea is that this will show you how likely you are to hit that in the long term, right? At a top level, the product team can see what planning items are still out there and how far towards their goal they are. They can make decisions. Again, this is the entire purpose of planning ahead, is they can make decisions on, you know what, that planning item doesn't need to be done as part of this initiative. Right now it can be moved, or it can be delayed. We can continue the initiative, but we can release here, and they can make those decisions. The planning items themselves are the breakdown of the initiative, and again, they come down to what does the product team want to do? How much do they want in a planning item? This planning item really, this adds value, right? As a whole, this thing adds value to the system, right? Once these pieces are done, then there's value. It's not finished. It's nowhere near finished. There's plenty of items in the notifications piece. This is just the beginning of that thing. There'll be planning items for adding extra fields. There'll be planning items for adding extra notification types. There'll be planning items for telling me on the client, etc. There'll be all sorts of other things, but they'll all be built on for initiative. However, if the product team can see the initiative as a whole, like all the planning items and where we are with them, they could make a decision and say, okay, here we want to cut a release, so we want to finish these planning items next, and that's good enough for release, and then we can come back to the others at a later date, which means they can make those decisions because they've got enough visibility into the process. So they own that piece. They own the initiative. They own how much they want done. The developers, again, the idea is that the developers can break down these tasks however they want, technical, non-technical, it doesn't matter. They're breaking down the tasks to achieve the requirements. So the developers own this piece. They're not handed down tasks. They are taking tasks that they have planned, and being able to estimate these as far as difficulty, etc. goes, they can achieve and potentially break those down to be very granular and deliver quicker, right? Because they're not constrained by, what is the product on this side? The product owner puts down what they expect this to be able to do, right? It's the why. Yeah. So obviously I'm not using it in the way that this is intended fully, because it will take me a great deal of time, and I also like development. But yeah, the product owner would give them the reason, what they're expecting it to do, what they expect, and it should have a discussion around it. Yeah. I think that's the cross, right? Because the developers should be able to say, we can't do that. That isn't possible. We need to do this first, etc. So the what can be dictated a little bit on both sides. The how is the developers, and the why is the product team, right? They should go off and figure out the value it adds, right? Now, again, this is not finished. There's lots more information to add to this. There's lots more pieces that need to be added. There's priorities and other things that need to be pushed into this that will help strengthen that vision. So the plan is to put this piece where we currently have add task into it, either in here or as a workflow from within the planning. So basically, developers can see. Oh, you found that as well now, did you? um, Developers can see what's coming, right? So as soon as something's ready for planning, developers on the teams that are associated with that planning item. So if you remember, a planning item can be associated with many projects, right? So you can go in here and it can be associated with many projects. Projects are associated with teams. So your team will be able to see that planning item appear once it's marked ready for development. So they'll know that it's there. That's the purpose. So they can go off and read it. They can see what's coming. Now, it might be that when it comes time to planning, the product team sit down and say, okay, let's start planning this. And it goes to a new screen that is basically okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to present this, discuss it, and mark it as can't be processed, can't be worked on, can't be, and basically go through the process of identifying what they can plan and what they can't, and identifying these tasks with the developers. So the developers are able to lay that down. The developers being able to see stuff as soon as it's ready for planning. I encourage developers to go off and look at stories. The problem is with Jira, you don't know what you need to process. So you need to be told what to process. I'm going to put that front and center so thank you for the bit. Appreciate it. You know what you need to go and look at beforehand. So by the time you get to the actual planning piece, you should be aware of what it is you're looking at, and maybe have done some pre-discussion on, we need to do this, or push back on this and add a comment, which is why I think conversation is more this. I think that to do in progress done is the Jira interface. That is outside this idea. To do in progress done. Not quite sure I follow. You have a developer board. You mean this? So you think the actual tracking of the work being done should not be done in this product? It should be done in Jira. I don't agree. I'm not sure why it shouldn't be done in this product. We need to go. Why? Because it we need to introduce another expensive component to the tool chain. So, oh, okay. So let's dream for a second, right? In a world where this becomes an actual product. So the argument would be integrate with Jira because Jira is the industry standard. Therefore, it's foolish to try and build something. Uh, uh, um, how are you gonna sell to a company you're better than Jira? Trying to think how to word this. I gotta be careful. Plenty of products come along. Jira came along at a time when uh, Trello and what's it called? I can't remember the name of it. There's a bunch of tools that came before Jira, and they were the standard, right? Jira came along and integrated with them. I get that to some extent, but that wasn't until after Jira became a product and Jira became popular, and then people wanted to migrate, right? So if anything, I would flip it the other way. I would build integrations for Jira to populate this. Because if you get people on board, like telling someone, hey, the planning pieces in Jira are really complicated. Um, um, there was tools for work tracking and stuff. That's really what I was saying. I wasn't saying about the whole agile boards and stuff. I know, but the full history. Um, but again, the point was that I was trying to say there was the Jira didn't come along and say, "Hey, we can integrate with these other tools because they're the standards as right now." They flipped it and said, "You can integrate that data into us," right? And I think that's more what this would become. But even then, that's still taken time to do those integrations, right? Those integrations are as needed. Um, so the hard part there would be figuring out how Jira maps to Liquid Sky, not the um, other way, and that's how you pick up adoption. You don't pick up adoption by saying, "Hey, you know that expensive tool? Buy my expensive tool, and then you combine them to build a better expensive tool." Um, so, but I'm not building this to directly tackle what Jira does, am I? Good job, Twitch, on the language. Whatever. uh, yeah, because you got pinged. Yes, you got blocked from saying the F word yesterday, but now it's yeah. No, you got blocked. You got blocked yesterday. Yeah. 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 Okay. Well, we know we know something's wrong with Twitch right this second then. But anyway, language aside. Oh, and by the way, if you are not subscribed on my YouTube channel, I would highly appreciate the subscription. I'm at 470 subscribers on YouTube. It'd be nice to hit that 500 mark. I'm nowhere near monetization because the views aren't there, but it would be nice to hit that 500 mark. So anyway, yeah, we're not getting much done here. I'm subscribed. Thank you. I do want to make more long form content. I do want to make some more videos around stuff. I do have some ideas. There's two paths I can go. There's working with like doing some of the technology stuff, like hey, here's building a saga out, or here's, working with Kafka, or there's the more like the technical debt video, like hey, here's some opinions on how to do things. I am kind of preparing a talk for what's the YouTube. when one of your longest supporters is asking what your YouTube channel is. Okay, so let's track this. Um, let's go here. Let's go here. Let's go here. I do not treat you like a disappointed child. Disappointing child, maybe, but yeah. So we're going to introduce the API for communications. We're going to create a database for communications, which we've technically already done. Create the endpoint for communication preferences. So we need to capture a notification subscription identifier, and then an indicator as to what actual notification we're doing. That's YouTube you before. Yeah. No, he said he would be back on Friday. Cried like a lot. Table for notifications, capture notification, subscription, user, and tenant. Again, I need to remember that tenants are a thing in this application. So let's go. notification parameters. Let's go with notification parameters right now. No, okay. Oh well. So we're gonna have a subscription identifier on here. We're gonna have a user identifier. And a tenant identifier. Again, that user can be represented in multiple tenants. So this user on this tenant is going to be, I mean, in theory that should be enough to identify it, but we'll be thorough at this point until we prove otherwise. So that's the key information that we require. Basically, when we publish the actual change activity, it will have this identifier. This identifier is the notification, right? So notifications, we go and processing changes. He says receivers, changes receiver, process planning item change. Yeah, here we go. So we publish it with the subscription identifier, the tenant identifier, and the source user. So this is the, hey, tell them something happened. We don't we're just using the fact that we are this property changed, and we're saying, yep, they need to know. So we're passing through quickly. Someone got mad at everyone. Now we have to work hard. The one thing that I don't like about corporate culture in general is the blame. To me, and part of why I'm building this is we should be a team. We should be collaborating. We should be taking ownership of things. If we want to deliver a good product, if we want to be proud of what we deliver, it's not just the developers do what they're told. It's not just the product team, infer what they can from the market or whatever and tell the developers what to do, right? It has to be collaborative. Things have to be validated. Things have to be checked off. Things have to be, honest and said, hey, we don't think this is the right thing to do right now, or this is not the right way we should develop software. And every time we let blame come into the place, we start to put more procedures in place. We start to put more like, oh, well, this needs to be signed off, and, Jeff in accounting needs to approve this, and, the customer service needs to triple stamp it before we can actually say something. And we put more red tape in place to try and avoid being wrong, and it just moves us further away from that product. If we take we're not going to hit everything perfect. We're going to fail, but we do our best to not fail. And when the failures happen, we react quickly to them and effectively to them. Then we can move forward, and we don't end up in this constant, retrospective of, oh, what could we have done better? Oh, well, we screwed up. We failed. So, hello, Surly. How you doing? And Atrium, hello. I told them this is a process issue. Everyone achieves more. Blame is great. How else am I going to feel like it wasn't my mistake? Just avoid accountability. That would be terrible. There is an I in team. we trust Surly. It's fine. Um, you know, again, collaboration, constant adjustment, and the one of the in things we introduced at my previous company was taking that extra piece of the whole Kanban style work of the Kaizen, right? The improvement, right? Reflect on what we can do better next time and improve. You're going to make a mistake. It happens. But if we're communicating and we're being clear about what we're expecting, those mistakes aren't necessarily going to happen as frequently. So anyway, soapbox ran over. So anyway, we publish this notification. We say, hey, this needs to be handled. So what we're going to do here is we're going to create those subscription parameters to match in this side, and we're going to define what it is we're going to notify on. Right. Phil Summer, hello. How you doing? Did you just get rickrolled? If we don't know who to blame, if we don't have blame, how would we know who to fire from Unity for pushing UI toolkit? And burning Google's money by optimizing my shaders. Nice. Yeah. In 2025 too. Nice. Yeah, it's human nature. We you know, it's and it's promoted, right? Have a great day, TBD. I'll be getting my second cup of coffee now, and you might head off before I go back. No worries, one line. Thank you very much for coming hanging out. Thank you for doing the shout out as well. I appreciate it. I was slacking on that one, right? But we're encouraged from the start to be self-reliant, right? So we are encouraged to achieve individually. We're rewarded for achieving individually for the longest time, and then we're expected to work as a group. But then when someone doesn't hold, and even as kids, you know, we're you know, sometimes you are punished as a group, right? One person does something wrong, and that's trying to instill that sense of one fails that you all fail. So hold everyone up, like, but we then get into, you know, financial reward. It becomes very different. So you don't want to carry the weight of someone not doing what they should be doing. So I get it, but we can be better. The guy passing the ball to the guy scoring down doesn't get any praise. Exactly. But they should do. And there's a stat for it, right? There is an assists stat. In many sports, there's an assist stat. Yeah. If you're not following, maybe I would highly recommend following. Maybe tomorrow he's going to do more of his AI social media platform. Sorry, soccer doesn't really have that. You either score goals, you're on the bench. I'm pretty sure a football team is made up of strikers, midfielders, and defenders, and they each play the part. So if your defenders aren't scoring goals, that's probably a good thing. I've been getting some solid ideas for that. Nice. And also more social media following in a week than most people get ever. Whether you're Brazil in the 90s, though. That's just an all-round talented team. They still have defenders. Those defenders were just more capable than most strikers in the world, yeah. This might actually become a real product. Nice. Nice. So essentially what this is now, actually that's all we require right this second. We're not going to notify anything else. We just need to create this record. We don't have email, push, etc. We're going to do an email to begin with, and then we'll come back. So there's no point in creating extra pieces there that might be used later. I don't have any need for them because I have a specific purpose right this second. We'll worry about what that looks like when we've got a second purpose. I wish I had a purpose. That is, you do have a purpose. To constantly keep people on their toes. Make sure they don't feel too loved without some well-deserved criticism. Not criticism. I don't mean criticism. Can't think of the word I mean. My brain is Have we not learned about the anyway. So we're going to create a command. This command is going to have the subscription identifier. So the way this again will work is notifications flow, tenant notifications flow, yeah. So when we subscribe, that will give us back a GUID of that subscription, which we will then go to the communication preferences and save. Hi Finiflix, how you doing? I have been thinking about other Bailey apps and stuff, to be honest. That's cool. So yeah, if you're just joining, basically what I'm working on right now is I'm adding the ability to record the subscription parameters so we can get these sagas off and running. It could be the next, I don't know, what's a large company with too many products? Microsoft. I'm going to create a handler. So this command, and if you are new to the stream or not, if you have any questions, thoughts, opinions on what I'm doing, you're more than welcome to share or ask. I am, you know, I don't know any coding stuff, just looking how it works. Nice. Are you interested in that stuff? Or how did my stuff get up into your YouTube works in weird ways. Mr. Anhorn, good morning. Interested, gotcha. Well, I would love to say this is a great thing to see as a even a beginner developer, but this is a little bit more than a lot of developers would do. So this is the handler, command handler of command. I'm going to implement that. And we're going to but it's like, yeah, we'll block that word. We've not blocked two, but we'll block this one. It's sort of another bear idea. Um, Subscription parameters. I went too far. Yeah. Huh? Afternoon, Mr. Jones. How you doing? Okay. Opinion time. I've named an object. I've named an entity with a plural because to me this is going to be a set of parameters for notification or for subscription parameters. It's not a parameter, but what do you call a collection when you've got a plural entity? There's got to be opinions. A dictionary. Parameters is. So I'm open to opinions here. Only serious ones. You're only allowed to provide serious opinions, though. Because that'll work. It's like telling the AI to follow my instructions to the letter. I think I'm getting. Just feel like a list of something. I'm not sure it should be at the class level either. Like, does it work and act serious? Delta, have a great day at work. Make it go a little smoother today. Catch you next time. So, so this is where I would normally you create a child collection, right? But it doesn't feel like this is necessary to create a child collection because this will be things like email. But this is worth thinking about because this can help describe the system. If I name this weird, I'm going to get stuck on a. Yes. We're just going to represent it as a subscription because, again, right now, it's just a subscription. I've already said that I don't know what those other parameters are going to look like right now because, it is what it is. Um, Finiflix, thank you very much. Appreciate it. This will pick up soon. There will be a little bit more to do, and more to see. But appreciate it. Thank you very much. Gotta fix that bug. That's driving me wild. So again, this subscription here, this notification subscription here, is going to be the same thing represented over here. So that's why I've just called it a subscription there, because the subscription will register here, return its ID, and then be pushed to communication preferences, right? So that subscription, when that notification comes through, it can pull up those details of how it's going to do the notify. That's the purpose here. So for right now, we'll go with subscription because it is a parallel. Once we've actually added the, so this is register subscription, right? Once we've added the ability to trigger, hey, I want an email notification every Tuesday, or I want a push notification, at the end of the day with a summary. I want to create a report. I want to do this. I want to do that. It's all, all possible. So we'll not worry too much about the refinement of that. Right. The second, we'll just define what it is. Communications application tests, directory when registering subscription. Again, registering subscription, fact, subscription is saved. That seems dumb, right? Sorry, my wife is texting me as well, so that might seem really dumb as a test when registering subscription is saved, but the what I'm validating here is that the actual behavior in here is handled, right? So I'm just writing a test there. Later on, it will do and saves parameters, etc. So we will get there. There is that. Yeah. I mean, she's trying to figure out breakfast, so I probably should pay more attention. So let's do this private, and I do have to finish soon for meeting, but yeah. That reminds me, I need to take I've got I found a place that does British bacon or British style bacon and sausages and pies. I need to take some of them out of the freezer. I think tomorrow might be a bacon sandwich kind of day, a cheat day. So this is going to be the register subscription handler is going to be our subject, right? This is going to be arrange act async, protected, override, arrange. Actually, I think I have this working pretty well in this framework. Oh, dope. I'll be registered subscription then. We're going to take these, create a global usings. Get rid of that, get rid of that. Okay, there's our subject. Our subject is a new handler. We need a repository. So let's create a private read-only repository of subscription. No, equals substitute or repository. There we go. Yeah. Mr. Rahon streams intermittently right now. He's been working on a platform for wow. Or yeah. Building amazing tools on stream is Mr. Rahon's specialty. I've been working on like a stage manager, I'm gonna call it, for managing overlays and all sorts of stuff where you can go in and edit and edit scenes. Yeah. Yeah. It's hard. I mean, you know, you got work, you got, you know, a family, you got, you know, it's not easy to get the time. And everyone's crazy enough to get up early and spend the first 2 hours of their day. So, yeah. What we want to validate is that we say repository dot add async arg is subscription. S goes to S dot goes to S dot I'm just adding a new mic feedback processor, add Copilot converter, C++ MFCC parser info into C#. I release it since all the ones on the market p-invoke to a C++ lib. Nice. This is the result after burning Google's money. There you go. This is the cool stuff that FieldSnapper works on. That's impressive. That makes me want to play Dyson Sphere. That's insane. Makes me want to play No Man's Sky. I was like, No Man's Sky, Dyson Sphere, Dyson Sphere. I want to play Dyson Sphere. Yeah. Yeah, if you've not followed Stony yet, I would recommend it. Stony is a Stony's been working on No Mercy media app for basically, you know, collating your content and providing a Netflix-like interface for your media. So if you rip your DVDs and Blu-rays to storage, you can get them that way, and basically producing that. My office sucks. They don't turn on AC until 7. It's hot and humid. Ugh. Ugh. Yeah. Null frequency crystal cepstral coefficients. Oh wow. Okay. That's big brain stuff, that is. I'll stick to my comparing identifiers poorly. Private read only, GUID, subscription, identifier. I think its keyboard's broken. It keeps typing the wrong thing. Private read only, GUID, user identifier. Private read only, GUID, tenant identifier. See, that's when it's most useful. When it's doing stuff like that, it's just helping me along. And S dot. But I can never do it in practice. Yeah, that's user. Oh. Okay, and then we break these down. So again, what we're doing is verifying that we actually do save the subscription. Any cancellation token doesn't really matter there. So what we want to do is received. So we should have saved that subscription. So now our test requires us to act override act async, where we do await subject that handle new command subscription identifier, tenant identifier, user identifier, and then cancellation token dot none, because it doesn't really matter there. We're not canceling this. Maybe the demo guys will be sparing me today. No worries. Well, we can hope. So what I'm hoping now is that this runs without failing. I know it's been a slow stream. I know that I've not really got much coding done. I know that. I mean, the people in here, I know that you understand that. It's fine. What? Why is that? Sometimes I don't get you. I do not understand. Oh, apparently I've enabled continuous testing. So that'd be why. Yeah, awesome. Okay, so now we just need to go and make that work, right? Which is simple. So await repository to add async new subscription. Right. There we go. So we go back here now. Does this trigger? Continuous testing is on. Continuous testing will be working. There you go. My co-pilot made a fub and decided to delete the whole file. For some reason, its code replacement is inserted into the middle of the usings. Oh, awesome. That's helpful. Okay. May 19. I gotta start thinking about wrapping this up. So very simple. We have a registered subscription. We need an endpoint now. So we're going to do subscriptions and then post. Right. It's been a while since I've actually written one of these, so we're going to go back to the basics. Actually, let's try that. That's the intended action, right? I'm registering a subscription. I'm posting 2 subscriptions. It's almost an identical thing. So my sender. So what we do is reference communications dot application, add that. Oh, when it says looks like the code has been corrupt. Well, yeah, you wrote slop code. Yep. Okay, so this is register subscription, and then that's going to be user.get tenant identifier, and then we don't have any parameters here. Request content subscription identifier. So that's going to be request content dot subscription identifier, user, and then tenant. I really need to do a smarter job there. And this is subscriptions. Yeah. This is going to be our Dallas.result, I think. That result should be oh, we might need to make another change. Yeah. Anyway. Okay. Unfortunately, I have to run. I'm letting that get I was hoping that would be a little quicker. What I need to do is add these pieces in here, but I also need to make sure that I change both of them to return their identifier so that the client can actually track, oh yes, I have the subscription, right? If I don't return anything, like this one doesn't need to necessarily return the identifier, but the other one, the notifications one, that I just copied this from, does need to return the identifier. Because if it doesn't return the identifier, right, then this is not going to work because I need that. I need this subscription identifier from the notification side to be able to register the communications piece. But anyway, we're going to finish up here. Again, I apologize for the shorter stream. I am going to raid over to Stony, who is starting. So yeah, he fixed some of his computer issues the other day, so his audio should be all nice and tidy now, and we should be good. But I will be back tomorrow for a regular 2-hour stream, all things, assuming that I don't have another meeting. But I won't know about that until later. We'll continue on with this. We'll get this working. The sagas implemented, or start to be implemented, is my goal. And then going into next week, we'll hopefully start to see those results come through and start to be able to build this out. So thank you for joining me. Have a great rest of your day, and I will catch you soon. Let's go see Stoney. Again, I highly recommend checking out his stuff. His stuff is all open source. So if you actually are interested in his media platform, it is on GitHub. So you can go and check out how he does things, and he shares a lot of it. He does a lot of his dev in the open, unlike me, who's keeping this all to myself. So thank you for joining me. Take care. Have a great rest of your day. Bye all.